Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. The month of July 2024 is going to open up some financial opportunity for you, especially when it comes to your longer range treasure chest of finances. It's also got some surprises up its sleeve as you do a breakthrough reset kind of breakthrough change energy regarding things to do with entrepreneurial creative endeavors, your own children, and your romantic and sexual life. We're going to talk about how this looks for you based on your sun, moon, and rising. If you're listening for your sun sign Capricorn, you're listening for things to do with your you're listening for things to do with your purpose in your career and father figures. Your moon is your home, nest, and safety needs, as well as mother figures. And your rising sign is you, the avatar in the game of life. I just realized I'm traveling in Portugal, and that's my suitcase blocking out the Capricorn name. Let me see if I can shift you a bit so at least you're not staring at an open suitcase. There you go, Capricorn. So there we are. I'm in Portugal recording this for you on June the 19th after having done the El Camino to Santiago, and with a girlfriend, and I'm staying her place, and my Patreon community gets this today, early access ad free. And this is a beautiful pair of earrings she made. It matches my dress. And she does porcelain, ceramic, fabric, metal, soldering, all that, multimedia artist. And if you're at all interested in learning more about her work and ordering a pair of earrings for your very own self, I just like to support independent creatives. I always have in my channel and in my life. And so if you want to check it out, Melena's link to her store to buy some jewelry is in the description box below. All right, so Capricorn, let's get going with the basic stories. I mean, first of all, let's say this. It is that Mars-Uranus conjunction that we're talking about when we say breakthrough change in the thumbnails of these videos for all signs. And that's because Mars moving through the sign, did I say Capricorn? Mars moving through the sign of Taurus, with collaborating or crashing into the god of unexpected freedom and change, Uranus, is a story that was happening in the 1930s. And it's been back again recently. That's because we have to have Uranus and Taurus, which has been going on since 2018. And it's back. And the last time these two collaborated or collided in the sign of Taurus for you, which is your house of children, romance, sexuality, things to do with your creativity and your entrepreneurship, was August the 1st, 2022. And before that, back in January of 2020. So this is what we call a synodic cycle for change. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to happen when these two come together on July 15th. All righty. Maybe a week before and after, there can be some turbulence, some change in your fifth house matters. Like, surprise, you're going to be a grandchild. Surprise, you're pregnant. Surprise, you got an entrepreneurial consulting job offer. Surprise, your marriage, your sex partner is declaring something shocking to you. Your romantic sex partner. Surprise, you have a romantic sex partner. So you want to go back and think, what were you doing? Because Uranus brings a surprise, Mars brings a change. What were you doing back, let's say, January of 2020 through to August of 2022 that changed in the fifth house storylines? And that includes artistic, creative projects, writing, the muse, inspiration, performing, athletic competitions, winning money can happen here, like the lottery, and also romance, sudden, shocking changes, re romantic status. So if you're a Capricorn rising, especially, this is pure romance house for sure, but you can listen for your sun and moon as well, and still it's going to have a similar meaning. So you want to go back and compare notes and what changes have you had in that area of your reality as a result. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I've been with my wife for 30 years. And what changed in your sex life? What changed in your romantic life during these reset buttons of Mars and Uranus in these windows of time? So this reset button around the 15th of July is going to indicate change that can take up to 2 years to unfold. So don't look for everything to happen on July 15th. But certainly in or around that time, and just after it especially, you may see evidence of what is changing. All right, so now that we covered that, let's talk Saturn just for a brief second. You are like Aquarians, a Saturn-ruled being, and Saturn is moving through the sign of Pisces since 2000 and March last year, 2023, to February of 2026. We must address that elephant in the room, because as Saturn moves through your third house, it's bringing a sense of solid gains or boundaries and borders or difficulty and hardship regarding sibling relationships, especially younger, but all siblings. Also regarding your neighbors and neighborhood, also regarding short distance travel and skills-based learning and teaching, and also maybe something to do with some kind of sense of containment or hardship or frustration when it comes to communication, particularly writing projects, but all sorts of communication. But Saturn also can bring solid structures and new gains to these very same areas. And we're going to bring this up now because he's very active this month as planets are moving through your seventh house, Mercury and Venus. And we'll be talking about how this is going to offer some relief for what has been rather difficult third house energies that have been playing out through your sky. Now, first of all, let's talk about big planetary stories. Let's talk Mars. In general, we might remember Mars moved into your fifth house of children and romance and entrepreneurship and creative projects, etc. June the 9th. And every 2 years he comes through here. So it's nothing new, but not with Uranus, right? Go back to the 30s for that. And he entered here June the 9th, and he's been slowly approaching Uranus ever since, hitting that hit the mark moment on July the 15th, and then continuing onward. So what happens when he continues onward is he enters into Gemini, which is your sixth house of work. Mars has his joy here, and therefore you might find July, as he moves into this part of the sky, the 21st through to September the 5th, if you're not gainfully employed, Mars in the house of his joy can get you a gainfully employed status. So employer-employee relationships, job and workspace matters are on Mars's agenda for you and can easily lead to some kind of work opportunity. Also, if you already have a job, you might just be working harder, focused, disciplined, ambitious, and determined, plowing ahead in the workspace. If you already have a job and workspace is there already, conflict in the workspace or someone quitting in the workspace or you quitting in the workspace. Mars likes to end, sever, cut. And so work and quitting, those are words that show up here. However, health is here, and Mars can be very inflammatory and when he's moving through the sixth house. So we're looking at rashes, heat, inflammation in the body, for instance, but it's the lungs particularly, which is Gemini, to be cautious of. And so just be careful for inflammatory pulmonary issues. Obviously, that would be like a cold or a flu or COVID or something. Otherwise, when Mars is here, you also might be more competitive, especially around getting a job. You might have some changes in the status of a pet situation or a new rental home opportunity as a tenant or as a landlord to lease out a property. So Mars can help you eliminate debt if you have too much debt on board. And if you need to go into lawsuit mode about something, Mars is your ally here. So those are all very true. And the dates of that again are the 21st of July until September the 5th. Now I'm wondering if I'm even in the camera range because as I'm traveling, you guys are stacked on a bunch of pillows. I am high on a makeshift desk in a bedroom. All right. So next, and makeshift mic and everything else. Next, we are going to talk about Venus, a benefic planet, the goddess of everything good, love, money, peace, harmony, pleasure, desire, romance, sexuality, fertility. Mercury, Venus begins the month moving through your seventh house of significant long-term love relationship. So if you're in a relationship and you see Venus moving through that seventh house, it just means that your partner's doing very well. They might be more beautiful, more self-loving, more engaging, more congenial, more friendly, more desirous of romantic time with you. This is a partner that's in that mindset ever since the 16th of June until the 11th of July. So enjoy that. Or possibly if you're single and you have a Venus transit through that seventh house, it's really not a bad time to meet somebody new. And you can go on dates now between June the 16th and July the 11th, and maybe count on meeting somebody who you're really attracted to and makes you feel very, very special and very good. I mean, it's a good vibe transit. And so use it or lose it. When Venus moves then next into the sign of Leo on the 12th of the month of July, she's in your chunky money house. Now that's complicated in a way. We'll get to some of that later. She's going to have a tango with Pluto that's pretty gnarly in the very beginning. But for the most part, this means that you're going to be looking at situations to do with your 401k, your investments, your banking, your mortgages, your shared resources with a spouse, your alimony, spousal support stories through a Venusian eyeball. And Venusian eyeballs are good here. I mean, she's a money goddess in a financial house. And for the most part, this can it can help you with struggles there. So if you've had financial struggles, tax struggles, banking, mortgage, debt, loan, credit card struggles, that kind of thing, Venus can up the ante for something good, can shift the gears towards something positive. But she will come into some tension with Pluto before the positive starts. Wait for the all signs week by week in this delineation today to get the dates down for that. Mercury is the message. Oh, and Venus will be moving through Leo, your chunky money, unearned income, shared resources house. She will be moving that part of your sky all the way through until August the 5th. So July 12th, August 5th, some financial relief possible on the horizon, even some lucky breaks regarding financial situations. And, with the Mars-Uranus conjunction mid-July happening in your house of good fortune, which includes lottery wins, and it doesn't matter if there's a broad square to Venus, that can still look like surprise, you won some money. So I do not want to over encourage you. I'm not saying spend all your money on lottery tickets, but it can happen under these circumstances. Mars is the god of competition in a house of winning and losing, and he's got a shocking sudden surprise for you that leads to lucky vibes July 12th, August 5th in the money house. So some of you may come into some good fortune in your finances that's very unexpected and sudden during July 12th to August the 5th. Okay, keep that in mind. Well, what about Mercury, the messenger of the gods, who's traveling close to Venus in the sky at this time? Mercury is going to be until about the 2nd, 3rd of July, finishing his tour of duty through your 7th house of committed long-term love. This would have been good for contract negotiations, legal deals, lots of conversations with clients, lots of selling and marketing, or lots of conversations, text messages and phone calls with a significant long-term love partner. Then on July the 3rd, Mercury goes into Leo, where he stays until the 26th. You might just remember we talked about that Leo sky, where Venus will be on July 12th. That's your house of chunky money, and also could be a part of that winning good fortune potential casino lottery, who knows, coming out of the blue. And there's another area that money can come to you this month too, but we'll get to that shortly. And so to me, when Mercury is there with Venus, which is a limited time, limited edition, July 12th through to July 26th, both are in your 8th house. That by far is your luckiest window of time for winning money. Just letting you know, July the 12th to July the 26th. But Mercury himself is all by himself, all by his lonesome there as early as July the 3rd. And he's good for doing a lot of things to do with like accounting here, like getting your books, all your ducks in a row, your accounting ledgers in a row, your accountant looking at things, stock investing, or taking stocks off the in or out of the market, being really scrupulous with how you look at your financial books, so to speak, credit card debts, things to do with loans and mortgages as well, and going through that with a mercurial eye and an eye to the ledgers, and maybe even an eye to making some changes if needed that are really smart to do. When Mercury's moving through here, because he talks to dead people in the 8th house, if any of you are inclined to talk with those who've passed on, this transit is good for that. And that will be July 3rd to 26th. Whether you do it yourself or see a medium, it's always a good transit once a year for that kind of endeavor. So go for it. Maybe a passed on relative or a medium or just a dream at night can come through July the 3rd to July the 26th. If there are any secrets that need to be spilled, especially about sexuality and romantic love, and it will serve everyone to have those sex secrets spilled, especially to do with family, childhood matters, and your mother's lineage, because of Chiron in the 4th house, those sex secrets can be spilled or disclosed, so to speak, when both Venus and Mercury are in that house, which is July 12th to the 26th. Now, next, we want to point out the fact that Mercury will just spend the end of the month, the 27th to July 31st, technically to August 13th, July 27th to August 13th, going into your Virgo 9th house and backing out. So this is some kind of movement to a place where he's connected to the word international, foreign travel, government institutional bodies, things to do with visas and passports. This is 9th house, book publishing, skills, higher education. He was in and he backs out. Now, say you're a student applying for a university and July 27th to August 13 happen. You may accept and then change your mind on a university. They may say there's no space available, and then they change their mind and say we have an opening. So court, legal, university, book publishing matters go forward and backwards. There's a change of mind, a change of direction. That can include travel to foreign places as well. You're moving forward towards some travel thingy and you decide to back out of it or change your direction, or even just the retrograde part of that July 27th to August 13th, because he will retrograde back into your eighth house, lends itself to some situations to do with money and foreign lands and travel as well. So we'll do more details on that in the August All Signs video. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and please hit that notification bell. It really helps the channel grow. All of three of those do. All right, so let's talk next about the moons, and then we're going to go in a breakdown of day by day, week by week, of what you need to pay attention to in the month of July. New moon on the 5th of July is happening in Cancer. Every year you get one. It's a new beginning, a fresh start in legal contracts, romantic long-term love, business partnerships, and collaborations. It can take up to 6 months to fully flesh itself out. On July the 21st, a completion of fullness and a full moon, blue moon, Capricorn, second Capricorn full moon. There was one in June. This full moon at 29 degrees of Capricorn is in the sign of you. You had to go to a fullness, a completion, and a ripening already back in June around the 21st. And now we have another one, July 21st, and you're going full moon again. What are you actually doing to come to some kind of a full fulfillment, fullness in something that you want to fulfill? If it's your sun, it's about your career. If it's your moon, it's about your home. And if it's your rising sign, it could be anything in your life. But you're coming to a fulfillment energy in some area of the story. A full moon is not only what occurs 2 weeks after, but also what can occur in the 6 months that follow. And maybe a false start happened in June, or something tried to fulfill itself and it didn't quite get lift off. And now this is your real deal, because this is your second full moon, Capricorn, in the sign of you, which is pretty crazy, within 30 days of each other. Let's go through the breakdown of the bit by bit, day by day. Okay, let's roll. July the 1st to the 3rd, Venus trines Saturn, which we like. Venus is a goddess of money, and she's in a money house, and Saturn is in your 3rd house. Money or financial. Did I say that? No. Venus is a goddess of money in your 7th house of long-term committed love, business partners, audience, market, and clients. Blah. 7th house. And as she's sitting in that part of your sky, July 1st to the 3rd, she trines Saturn in the house of short distance travel, in the house of skills-based learning and neighbors and neighborhood, and the local daily life. Now, for the most part, this can look like travel opportunities connected to a significant business or love partnership. But if you're in the online world, and positive ones, then this could be a real gain in the way you get your online content solidly in place, your new website, and it is received well by the audience and marketplace, that kind of thing, or a social media site or something like that. And that's a really sweet sky for everyone. July the 1st to the 3rd. If you don't take a trip connected to a loved one, you may actually book a trip. It's connected to either or, booking or taking that trip, regarding long-term committed love stories in your life. Mercury is trining Neptune at the same time in the first 3 days of July, and he's sitting in the sign of Cancer, significant long-term love, just as is Venus, flowing to Neptune, who's co-present in Pisces in your 3rd house with Saturn. So again, we're getting some kind of dreamy spiritual upliftment, some kind of powerful communication that is spiritually enlivening, and some visionary qualities. If you do Instagram or YouTube or Reels or TikTok or any platform that involves videography, that's Neptune in the 3rd house of social media platforms. And then you get this trine to Mercury in the 7th house. Caps who are on social media are having a nice little window of success here, and something along those lines where you're really meeting the mark with the audience. And that again is the first 3 days of July. July the 4th, Mars will sextile Saturn, give or take a day on either side. Saturn, again, 3rd house. That's also a sibling house. I should have mentioned that if I didn't. Aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and siblings. So what I was talking about earlier, this whole first 3 days of July could involve communication, emails, phone calls, or news, or talking to a sibling. And then we further that into the July the 4th. And Mars is sextiling Saturn in the house of those siblings. And that's like, is there some unexpected, because Uranus is pretty close to Mars at the time, unexpected information, news, communication from a sibling, from one of your children, from one of your siblings' children, from one of your siblings, from another sibling? Like, the siblings can also be the 5th house. It's a long story, but the one younger than you is the 3rd house, and the one younger than that is the 5th house. So sibling stories may be on your radar big time with unexpected surprising developments, and some of it may involve emails, phone calls, text messages, or communications. But it's positive stuff because of the sextile arrangement that I'm talking about. And that means you're not going to be upset by this. You're going to enjoy this. Unexpected news from your children around travel, and unexpected news and information about your children around educational matters, for example. Again, we're looking at July the 4th, and then we move into July the 8th. Now, Mercury on July the 8th will come into contact with Jupiter, who is a benefic, as we know, in your work and health matters house. Jupiter will be here for a year until next June, and he just started here last June behind us. And what I'm seeing here with Mercury in a flow to sextile flow from your 8th house of chunky money is some really lucky opportunities to do with work and finances. You might get some kind of great offer, and it could be really good in your long-term money, and it could have a kind of quality of a partnership or a business partnership of some sort as well. And your date to look for those business money work opportunities that look really good on you coming through, even contracting. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. That looks like that's showing up sometime around July the 8th. And then on same time frame, July the 8th, roughly, give or take a few days, Venus is sextiling happy surprises to do with love and money, Uranus. Well, Uranus is in the house of your children, and Venus is a fertility goddess, and she'll be in the 7th house of significant others. A couple thoughts. Your significant other may have sudden surprising news to do with romantic stuff, fertility stuff, or if you have adult children, that could also be news that one of your adult children is fertile or pregnant, because surprising developments of the 5th house can be about your romantic and sexual and fertility life or the life of your children. So there's information or news being dispensed probably that may surprise you. And again, the date for that happy surprise is July the 8th. Now, if that doesn't happen, like, because it's not everything's about your kids or sex and romance, you could get it's so literal. I mean, really, Venus is in the house of your significant other, and surprises to do with winning money is the 5th house, and they may tell you, "I won some money." It's just like I'm suspicious it's not about you technically, because Venus is in the house of your significant others. A client may have a surprise for you. A client may have an opportunity for you, a customer, somebody else that surprises you but brings you good fortune. And that is July the 8th. On July the 10th to the 12th, okay, the sun will trine Saturn. Now, Saturn is again in that 3rd house, siblings, short distance travel, neighbors, neighborhood, online social media, communicating, writing. That's where Saturn sits. And the sun is in a flow relationship called a trine from the sign of Cancer, your 7th house. How much of this is about you, really? Because who is that 7th house sun? What male figure who's significant to you in love or business is connecting to you in a positive way around travel, education, online projects, or something like that around the dates I'm giving you, July 10th to the 12th. And if you want to look at the same time, July 10th to the 12th, Venus also in the house of those significant others with that sun, trining Neptune, dreamy opportunities coming through with others for travel, learning, maybe business opportunities. 3rd house can be business opportunities as well. On July the 12th, you have the sun opposite Pluto. Remember I mentioned that there's complications here when Venus gets her money goddess status in your 8th house of chunky money. Just as she enters in on July 12th, 13th, and 14th, she will oppose Pluto at 1 degree or so of the sign of Aquarius in your 2nd house of resources and financial assets. So possessions, there's a tension here that could indicate an unexpected or a difficult period of time. And I only say unexpected because of the broad square from Uranus, in which something financially looks difficult. Or, there could be some difficult conversations happening to do with toxic or secret love stories, disclosures about abandonment and betrayal in love or something. Venus, Pluto, toxic love, fatal attraction. But honestly, if it's not that, because it doesn't have to be, it could very well just simply be about a financial matter. Some possession you have, maybe to do with real estate, the chironic wound, some kind of tax situation or inheritance glitch or something like that. It doesn't last long, so it's not the end of the world. I just want you to be aware that's not going to be the most simple or happy part of this month. It's the most difficult. Again, July 12th, 13th, and 14th. And, with Venus in your chart being the natural ruler of the house of siblings, there can be some financial conflict with a sibling or some disclosure secrets and difficult things going on regarding a sibling story as well, or with one of your children. She rules that part of your chart. I'll be doing a whole video on this. As we go to July 14th and 15th, that's at Mars-Uranus conjunction in the house of children, love, and romance. Shock, surprise. Oh my God. Or radical, crazy, different sexual energies, or I won some money. I don't know, July 14th and 15th, but you want to go a week or two before and after and understand that it's a reset button that lasts a whole 2 years. On July the 16th to the 18th, the Sun sextiles Uranus, taking cue from what Venus did on July the 8th when she sextiled Uranus, doing this Uranus sextile from the 7th house. What's surprising, positive, powerful, purposeful things are happening for your business and love partnerships stories. So there's opportunity through business and love partnerships, or your love and business partners are having lucky opportunities for good fortune. Okay, so keep that in mind. And what's happening July 16th, the 18th may have connections to what was going on around July the 8th when Venus was in that sextile instead of the sun. Now, on July 21st to 22nd, there's going to be a glorious trine between Mars and Pluto. But just before that, 19th to the 20th, just before Mars moves into your 6th house Gemini space, he forms a sextile to Neptune. Dreamy romantic trip opportunity getaway. Romance opportunity to travel see your children traveling to see you. This is 3rd house, 5th house matters. A breakthrough energy regarding your romantic life and journeys, travel, local neighbors and neighborhoods. Something, really sexy, but also mystical as well, coming around, the 19th and 20th of July. On July the 21st, however, add about 3 days, we get this vibration of Mars and the early degrees of Gemini in a trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius, your 2nd house of assets, resources, possessions, and financial wellness. Well, this is positive. And remember, I keep saying you could have some money, good fortune, and it surprises you, Mars, Uranus. This is a similar energy. I mean, Mars is now finished up meeting with Uranus, and now we have flow. Pluto, Mars are will powers, energies, doubling down personal will, divine will, forces of control and power in a harmonious flow. Well, square, don't I say? Oh, flow, flow from Gemini. So a new job opportunity that's going to up-level your finances greatly. A bold competition for a job that you win. A situation regarding your health that improves dramatically connected on dietary lifestyle changes. Aggressive maneuvers regarding your pets and rental intensity situations that improve your financial well-being greatly. Those are, and because Mars is joining Jupiter in your 6th house, right? That's positive energy for sure. I mean, Mars will be with Jupiter there until September 5th, and that looks like really good energy regarding rentals, pets, tenancies, and work and job and health. Just watch for inflammation of the lungs or the breathing part of your body with Mars moving through the sign of Gemini. There's a bit of fly in the ointment. I keep saying fly in the ointment, but it's the best way I can say it doesn't feel as good as everything else. That's Mercury will square Uranus for a bit of a shockaroo coming through information, news, or texts or phone calls. It is, well, everything looks good on many fronts. A little bit like when I said Venus is opposite Pluto on July 12th, and we get to like July 21st, and now Mercury is squaring Uranus. Uranus is in the house of good fortune and money luck and children and romance and sexuality. And yeah. And then Mercury is the information guy in the 8th house. Some bad news about a stock, bad news about your taxes, some difficult, surprising news about romantic, sexual love and betrayals. Those energies are there. Shared monies with your spouse or significant other, and some surprising, not necessarily welcome information, news, or disclosures going on around the 21st or so to the 23rd of July. The end of the month is fascinating to me. Mars is tracking with the sun by moving a degree a day, as does the sun. This is an unusual keeping pace, and therefore what is normally a 1 or 2 day event is much longer. July 24th to the 20, well, all the way through to the 28th, you're going to have Mars in lockstep, sextile to the sun. The good news is that Mars in lockstep to the sun is going to be bringing good things for your children, with your significant other, for your romantic and sexual, passionate life, for things to do with legal contracts and negotiations regarding entrepreneurial independent business opportunities. Those are clickety, 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 click. I can't see a downside. Let me double check. What am I missing? No, it looks really good. Like you're in essence, work opportunities are definitely there. With Mars moving through your sixth house of work and the sun in your eighth house, it's financial opportunities connected to situations that may come off as shared resources with your partner. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Because, if you have debts you share with a partner or a significant other, those debts can be looking for elimination. Alrighty. And yet it's hard to say how much of this Mars in your sixth house tracking the sun at the end of the month, again, the 24th to 28th, is about you or shared assets with a significant other where the sun is sitting. But whatever it is, it feels good. And, with Mars being the ruler of your fourth house of home, property, and real estate, you may be looking at financing mortgages and financing debts and financing things that have to do with property and real estate, and maybe in tandem with a partner or maybe by yourself. All right, so let me know how that goes. I'm looking forward to hearing from it. I have a tendency to think that looking at the sky, you're probably also money and financing revolving around being able to pay off a debt, something that you've been wanting to pay off, and being able to secure the means in a lockstep way, or getting some kind of work that allows you to eliminate debt. But that's really clickety click going through the sky, the 24th to the 28th of July. Thank you for listening, by the way. If you're a Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign, if you want to check my Patreon community out, they get this early access ad free. And my ethical bribe to you is come join me out for $5 a month. That's all it costs to try it out. The cheapest tier, up to 4 meetings with me per month. We're adding an extra one starting in September for just general Q&A. And you can have my Chiron, the Key to Purpose, and my Synastry, Are You My Person relationship courses for free, valued at $44 for them both, for a $5 investment in my Patreon. If you don't like Patreon after you've tried it out, you can leave Patreon and keep the 2 courses to self-study because they're the replays. Thank you for listening, Capricorn. Don't forget, check out Melena's earrings in the description box below. Check out my Sky Reader early bird discount. Get on the list and get on the list for my readings that open up in September. Goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful month ahead.